This is the Downtown Everett Crit. It's a new race. It's part of the Everett Performance Omnium series put on by Apex Racing. Really cool venue, right in downtown Everett. It's all the retail shops and everything. There was a crit on Saturday, further up north in the neighborhood. Regular four-corner crit. I wasn't able to make it because we had other obligations that day, so but went and walked the course. It looked pretty fun. Corner 4 was a little tight, heading to the finish line there. But yeah, super cool course. But this one's downtown. Came into it coming in with a good amount of fitness. Had gone to Tenerife for a week earlier this year with my wife and some friends. Got in some solid riding there. Felt like I got a good base going. And after that, just kept adding some climbing to my riding. I feel like it's gotten a decent amount stronger. So came into this, high level of confidence, but racing's always racing. I'm not one to win a ton. So yeah, first lap, took it out. Just wanted to get a feel for the course in the front. Usually, I'm not the one leading the lap, but just wanted to get a feel for the course without having to worry about traffic. So this right here is 10-Speed Hero. They had the most riders in the race. They had Andrew Martin, who I think is the guy from, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's Andrew Martin, but he's won a ton in the Pacific Northwest. They have a pretty solid team. They work really well together. Been racing a long time together. I probably know Mike Robson best. That's a workhorse. He had already raced earlier in the day. I can't remember his exact result, but he was definitely amongst the top in the 50-plus category, and then just came right back and raced in the 35-plus category. The cool thing about this race is the announcer was Phil Bilko Stevens, who's basically epitomized racing for me because I started racing back in 2014. He was basically an announcer for the majority of races in the Pacific Northwest, and so hearing his voice is synonymous with racing for me. And I believe he moved back east to take care of his family, and then my family and I moved down to San Diego, so haven't heard his voice in quite some time, but Harrison from Apex got him to fly back and announce for this race, so super special for me, super special for the Pacific Northwest racing community. And yeah, super fun to hear his voice. So coincidentally, the last time I won a USA cycling race was back in July of 2019. So almost 4 years to the day here. Bilko was also the announcer then, so it was pretty cool. I had even messaged him beforehand saying, hey, last time we got to do some magic. Not sure we'll have the same result today, but it'll be cool to hear your voice. Yeah, have really good memories with him. So here's 10-Speed Hero again, just controlling the front. These corners weren't too bad. I drove the course beforehand, looked at the pavement. Was a little concerned about it, but riding it totally fine. It was no issues whatsoever. Pavement was perfect. Corners were great. Super wide on every corner. No little issues. And take quickly. So really nice course. Super challenging, technical with the extra turn since it's an 8-corner course with an uphill finish. So early on, I'm just trying to conserve energy, just assuming there's going to be attacks. And I'm typically not the type of rider that goes into breaks, although I've been working on it, just trying to work on longer range power. Historically, I've defaulted to trying to wait until the sprint at the very end of the race, but yeah, just wanted to add to the repertoire. I think if you got to constantly be growing as a bike racer. You know, my weakness has always been FTP type level efforts, 5, 10, 20, 30-minute efforts. So just been working on endurance, but I figured early on in the race, it's supposed to be a 50-minute race. Things were running a little bit behind. And so
Weekend Warriors here.
Phil Miller, the judge, the official, told us that we likely weren't going to go the full 50 minutes just to try to make some time. So anyway, it's early on in the race. I figured I'm not the type that's going to go for something super early, but at the same time, I don't want to let something go. So we had a field of, I think it was approximately 15 people or so. Had another teammate in the race, that's Julian, so up there at the front. Strong cyclist, put in a ton of mileage, one of my first friends in racing, so it was awesome to be able to race with him. Yeah, pretty strong field. Again, 10-speed hero, I think, had 4 people in the race, maybe more, but they were by far the biggest team here. So Julian and I from Mercedes-Benz, and Dave Chip Chase and Bradley Haley from Vela. We're also teams representing the race. Steve Westover from Team Bigger was in there as well. And I'm not sure who else was there. So it's a challenging course. Got a fast corner heading into this uphill. It doesn't seem like much, but you know, it's a decent grade for, I think it was 3 blocks. So roughly 3 to 5% average, 3 blocks, and so you can't necessarily just count momentum bring you up the hill. So
He's recovered from yesterday.
I was pretty happy with climbing here. I felt like if I was in the draft, super comfortable, no real issues in staying connected. Like I said, I've been working on climbing lately. I feel like that's really helped me quite a bit in terms of fitness and strength, being able to stick in a race. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out with some of the Southern California races. So typically bigger, quite a bit faster. You can definitely benefit from the draft one, but you're always battling for position here. There's the guys down here are ridiculously strong. So hopefully some of this added fitness will help pay off. I can't remember the guy's name in blue here, but he was definitely plenty strong. I think he fared pretty well in the race on Saturday. He and Andrew, I think, were in the lead for the Omnium for the weekend. I wasn't in that just because I was only racing on Sunday. But I figured I want to keep an eye on them for sure. Let's see what happens. They were making moves pretty early on. Basically on this course, once you get by this finishing stretch, this uphill stretch, most everything else is downhill or flat. There's not a whole lot of distance that you need to pedal once you get by this uphill section. I mean, you definitely need to pedal to carry your speed, but you can benefit from some of the downhill cornering on the other side of the course. So here these two guys are attacking. I definitely want to stay on the wheel because they're the contenders. I know that if they make a move, it's potentially going to stick. I'm not exactly on the wheel, but I'm trying to get there. Still a couple bike lengths off. Definitely want to be on the wheel so you're benefiting the most from the draft. And the good thing is I'm a little smaller than these two guys, so if I get on the wheel, then I'll definitely benefit from the draft car. You can see I'm pushing, but I'm not exactly on their wheel. The gap's forming a little bit more, so not panicking yet. It's definitely early on in the race. There's other people in the field, but just don't seem to have the gas gas to get all the way up to the wheel, but giving it a go. So, over here. So this is probably the only dicey part of the course that I experienced. Right there on the left-hand side, inside the bike lane, there's a little rough portion here that'll bump you a little bit if you go over it. So yeah, so here, these guys slow down. I'm right on the wheel, kind of coasted right into it, so I didn't have to hit the gas to get there, which I was pretty thankful for. Before the race started, made sure to talk to Bradley Haley and
Still up near the front, but we've got a new rider
Dave
in
Chipchase
blue.
to be nice.
Peter Beels.
Chatted with Peter Beels too, who just launched by us, and of course, I guess he didn't agree with trying to be friendly and making sure we were averaging 180 watts or less at the climb. So he launches. These two don't make a move at all. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to chase or not. Not necessarily pushing hard to go after Peter. I wasn't sure it was a move that was going to stick, but he was getting a decent gap, so putting a little bit of power to start breaking down that gap. Take the corners a little harder. Pretty fun railing these corners. Like I said, the road was super wide, the course was well laid out, no real issues, no dirt or anything that I saw on the roads that would freak me out for taking a corner hard. So just tried to take the best lines that I could, go wide, cut in, wide back out, carry a little speed. So can't really see Peter here. A decent push. Rough area that I mentioned. So, coming on the climb here. Speed here is back on my wheel. I'm out of the saddle, pushing just to see if we can get up to Peter. I can see him in sight now.
Points this time. 5, 3, and 1. Yee, we've got Omnium points next time.
Here, Bilko mentioned there's Omnium points again. It doesn't matter for me. I'm not really in the Omnium since I had an Inspire day. Peter actually was on the team with me on the Audi squad for a couple of years. Always remembered him as a super strong rider. Obviously, somebody who's throwing in an attack and stays away from full lap is no chump. So, as a recent father, being a parent and trying to be a racer, cyclist is pretty tough. You got time constraints and lack of sleep and all that kind of stuff, but it just shows how strong you are if you're able to attack and hold the peloton off for a full lap. So huge respect for Peter. Everybody's back together, just kind of sitting in, recovering, since I was doing a decent amount of chasing, trying to get back on his wheel. He's still up there, so I'm content sitting on his wheel, just waiting to see if anybody else is going to attack it. Everybody's here, pretty much, so you can see pack is bunched up. We're not all strung out, single file, wattage isn't too high. Just waiting for the next person to throw down an attack. See, everybody's content sitting too. I think everybody was trying, and here, I think, here goes a move. So, Peter's on it, Andrew's on it. I think that's it. I'm on it. Apologies. That's the way. So they're making a pretty solid push. They're going for Omnium points. I'm not necessarily interested. Thought had crossed my mind to try and push up there maybe with them and see if I could keep going, hold the power, because I thought they might let up after the attempt for the Omnium points, and well, they didn't. They kept going themselves. So these guys are plenty strong. I'm again just trying to get back on the wheel, hoping they'll let up. Still, but they're 5 lengths back. Not overly worried again because this is mostly descending. Take the corners pretty cleanly. At this point, I didn't know that we had a gap in the pack, but I know I'm pushing decently hard. If I'm over 300 watts, typically do that with pushing reasonably hard. I figured I'd try and cut off a little distance here to see if I can make it ground up a little bit. I think this was the one time I wanted the rough spot here. So GoPro does a good job of slowing it. It's pretty rough in that spot. So back on the wheel here. Bradley Haley's joined us. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the climb. As long as I put out decent power, I didn't really have to kill myself in the draft to make it up the climb and then actually catch up to Beels as well. So I kept that in the back of my mind. So most everybody's back with us again. Get some back. Pace really let up after this. I realized it wasn't going to do much to move or getting away. I've been doing 100 watts here, so definitely something better. So here's where I decided, you know what, let's spice this up a little bit. Decided to push on the downhill. Typically I try not to attack when it's easy. It's race-wise, it's best to attack when it's hard, but figured they were recovering from a harder effort. Might as well give it a shot. Rail these corners, see what kind of gap I could get. So I think they sat up pretty quickly until I got a 5-second gap there already. Pushing the corners pretty hard just to see what kind of separation I can get. I think I did a pretty good job of taking these corners on. Mindful of that rough spot again. So my thought was on this part, uphill drag, don't really benefit from descending or anything like that. I just put in an effort, get out of the saddle, try and push some watts heading up this hill just to see if I can maintain the gap. Carolyn and the kids were in this Funko museum when the race started, so I don't think they were quite out yet. I didn't see them on the course necessarily. It's pretty interesting to go on a solo break. I haven't been in too many breaks in races. Like I said, I was default to sprinting, but in Southern California, I've lost a bit of my confidence in my sprint. Everybody down here is wicked strong, super fast, and so I've been experimenting a little, attacking early and just seeing what comes of it. No teammates though, so usually nobody follows, and then I end up getting sucked back in, or I attack with 1K to go and then get caught half a lap before the finish or something. Yeah, so pretty interesting to go solo here. I had a little more confidence just because, like I said, the backside of the course with all these turns is mostly downhill. Not to do a ton of pedaling, but then you've got this climb through the finish. So I'm just thinking about putting out steady power. I've been actually climbing a lot out of the saddle, which I didn't used to do before. So just trying to push up this hill with a steady amount of power. I'm looking back on occasion. I don't think I ever looked back on this incline.
On the move here.
Encouragement, motivation from the people on the course. Like I said, super cool to hear Bilko call out my name. Every little bit helps when you're out there by yourself. So Carolyn and the kids still not out yet. my heart rate's over 180, which usually means I'm redlining. My max in a sprint is probably closer to 190 or so, but for a sustained effort, 180 is usually hurting a decent amount. So definitely benefiting from just these brief respites during the descents here. Coasting between corners, trying to corner really well, take the fastest line through. It'll be interesting to send this to my brother and see what his critique of my cornering is, since he drives cars, knows way more about cornering from that perspective than me, so it'll be interesting to hear what he says. Just trying to continue to push, keep my head down, get as arrow as I can. Looking back occasionally, there were sections where I couldn't see the pack, so that was kind of nice. But like I said, I never really looked back on this part. Just figure if I'm pushing hard, then at least at minimum I'm making it more hard to catch up to me. So. Bilko. Heart rate's 177 at the top of this thing. You can hear me huffing and puffing. It's a good, solid push, but again, just trying to keep steady power on the pedals. So dipping below 300 watts here. So posting these downhills. Probably could have pushed a little more here. Just to get a little more speed, benefit a little more from that downhill. But gassed. There we go. So pushed a little bit on that downhill, trying to take advantage of the free speed there. A little bit of an extra kick. Anybody in sight, so that's a good sign. When you're out, whether it's solo or in a group, try and get out of sight, out of mind, which you can. It helps demoralize the chasing group a little bit if they can't see you or don't really know where you are. Definitely time gaps are being called out, but definitely a psychological advantage to not being in the sight. At some point here, I thought about being funny. Yelled out to Bilko that he needs to tell him to stop at these red lights. Give me a chance. Not sure how to do that,
California. Couple of chasers about 12 seconds back.
So gap is 12 seconds. Getting cheers all over the course. I think Car and the kids are finding out here. Let's see. Gasping for air, heart rate's at 180. Back still accelerated. 12-second gap is about a block. So it makes sense that I don't see anybody in the rear view camera. So just again, corner well, maintain good speed, keep up a steady power. Dipping down into the 200s. A bit gassed. Later on, I think I looked at the power profile. This ended up being my highest power output for 30 minutes. So around 300 watts. See, there's coasting, but on the backside, this definitely helped it increase the average. You can also see the power I'm putting out of the saddle, dipping each lap. Okay, it was closer to 600 plus previously. Mid fives, dipping down to the fours.
Behind you. Come on, folks, help him out. 10
laps to go. Been out for a couple already. Groups of people at each corner yelling and cheering. It helps so much when you're out. You get that kind of stuff. You can see Julia and Peter off the back there. But that even helps just to see other riders, of course. At this point, I've been out for a decent amount of time. Definitely tired, but trying to take advantage of as much recovery as I can while freewheeling on the corners and just pushing the power I can. So. Here, saddle again. 550 watts now, 560.
Sort of bloom and Omnium points. Next on around.
Alright, so next lap, whoever's leading lap gets a free entry to the Tour de Bloom stage race. And also some of the Omnium points as well. So. It's cool ride by the Funko Museum all the time. Those characters sticking up there. So I mentioned earlier, the last time Bilko was the announcer for the race that I won, it was the Great Northern Crit. It was funny enough, it was a pretty similar race situation where it was a little more technical course. I think it actually might have been corners as well, but I do remember between corner 2 and 3, there was just a horrible pack slowing down a ton. So pretty similar to this. I attacked there, just feeling like we could push a little harder. Ended up being out solo for a while, got caught, and just made up my mind. You know what? I didn't come this far to not do well, so sprinted my guts out, ended up taking the win. It was a memorable experience. Of course, I forgot my GoPros. And, fortunately, a couple teammates got some footage, but firsthand. So I'm climbing. You can see my wattage is dipping into the 300s.
Picking up the 5 points on the Tour de Bloom.
So I got the Tour de Bloom, got the Omnium points coming around the corner. I figured I had a 10 to 12 second gap. So look back, and I was actually shocked to see everybody is there. So Bradley Haley was taking some video too. He's the guy in my rear view camera right now. They both sprinted for the Tour de Bloom and Omnium points. So at this point, I've been out for a while, I'm trying to recover. I know this is a dangerous move since these guys are the Omnium lead. So I just pull over, hoping somebody's going to pull through, and sure enough, Bradley does. 10-speed hero guy just sitting on his wheel to cover, so he's not going to help since he's orange right there. Just get on our wheels, see what I can do. Get a little bit of recovery. There's Nolan, Dinah, and then right behind us my drop zone. So Mike's always been super encouraging, and I think Mike might have been one of the first guys I reached out to when I was first starting the race, just curious about joining teams, stuff like that. I've carried on a conversation ever since, just about racing. I've always been super impressed with both his strength and willingness to sacrifice for his teammates. He's leading out Andrew a ton at a lot of races. Like I said, he had just raced another race. Now he's back in this one. He's up here with the split. Part of the field's already gone from the race.
9 seconds.
Still in the lap, but they've got a 9-second gap on us, so that's not insignificant. Definitely dangerous because you can see him up ahead, which is the big part. 9 seconds is pretty dangerous. Curb came up pretty quick. Glad I missed it. Gap. Nobody here is pushing. I'm a little bit of gas, but I figured I might as well put in a dig, and there goes a 10-speed hero down the chase. So I'm super thankful for that. And at least I can follow the wheel to try and get back connected with Beels. But yeah, at this point, I'm kind of tired. At least recovering a little bit. Heart rate's at 170. Sight, so that's a huge relief. Wasn't sure if this 10-speed hero guy was necessarily going to close the gap, just because he's got to get on the brake. Cool. So I figure I need to go around him, need to bridge up to it. Toe up to the leaders here, so steady push. Thankfully they're not pushing super hard.
6 to go, guys.
Catch up to him at the top of the corner. He's gonna get a little recovery here, so super thankful for that. You can see there's still 3 10-speed hero guys. About a quarter of the race left. There's Mike. Front, making sure he's protected. But you can see they work pretty well as a team. Getting up there and then sitting up and not really pulling their own guy back. So these guys are super experienced, work really well as a team. It's impressive to watch. Give Andrew a break. So I'm watching. He is up solo, but not necessarily making a huge dent. So I'm happy with Nolan pushing. He's like hop on a wheel, we'll try and bridge up. I think that's gonna happen. Wasn't super worried about the guy on solo just because he's not huge gap between us and the chasers. Going up the climb, putting on some watts. He's in sight. Overly worried about it at this point. Definitely making a push just to see if we can get reconnected to the front. Staying seated on it. So everybody's still in sight. That's the big part. Did have some lap plans, so I'm 100% sure the person way up there is out on a break or actually lapping higher. I'm guessing the gap there. I decided not to sit. A little bit more. we get up the road a little bit.
Duffy trying to bridge across here.
Made a big push. Realizing it's a pretty dangerous move that I think was in again. So get up close to trying to get there the best I can. So gassing myself. Staying in sight. Sending the follow. Bradley goes. Got incentive to chase, so there's a break of 3 up front. I'm trying to catch up to Bradley's wheel just to get up to that and see what happens. So, like I said, there was a race prior made, so I'm sure some of these guys may be tired of being race effort. Luxury of not racing, they go for a ride, but so pushing super hard. So there's definitely an advantage there, but so here I'm pushing decent hard up the climb, getting on Roland's wheel.
Make some noise. It's 3 to go.
So we got 3 laps to go. All race together. Here I'm thinking, you know what? Larry was out for a while, a little bit tired. A couple moves went, but they didn't necessarily stick and sort of keep driving. So that's good. Everybody's strong. There goes another 10-speed hero guy. 10-speed Falcon chase. Robertson's right here. So, in my mind, 10-speed heroes are the group to keep an eye on. As well as partner. Mike. Big. And 3 to go. I don't think the pack's really going to let anything go, so unfortunately the guys are covering like an hop on the wheel, rock back up to the front of the race. Still got to make a decent push up this hill. What I found was push hard for the first block, 2 blocks. Pace kind of slows down a little bit. Those guys are covering, so I'm right on the wheel. Not pushing out a ton of power necessarily.
Our competitors.
So 2 to go now. Pace definitely lets up. 100 watts, everybody's looking around. Some time to figure out what the next move is. Just start to push. We're bunched up. Strung out here. sets up. Another move from Pigeon, 10-speed hero. There's some danger there. We've got 2 to go. A little bit of gap warning. Mike is slowing down, so I have to go around him. And so I know right here, I know I've got a little bit of work. So I got super close to the curb there, just trying to take that corner hot. And you can see I'm definitely pushing down, trying to get up to this move. So they let up a little bit. And so I decided, you know what? I don't want to wait for the 10-speed hero train. These kind of segments I've been going for, so let's just go. 1 lap to go. Kick up to the top of the hill. Sustain power over the top. Then assess and see what's going on. So at this point, I've looked back. I saw I got a little bit of a gap, and so we're letting up and just resting and trying to push down. So there's Peter and Julian up ahead. Freewheeling here. Back, realize I've got a 4 or 5 second gap on the field, but that on the last lap can be easily erased. There have been plenty of times where I've attacked on the last lap and just got brought back in the finish, so never comfortable, but about to lap Julian and Peter here. Peter's waving, Julian's going at me. Peter's going. At this point, I'm just pinned. I'm just trying to give everything I've got to make sure this gap stays. Look back, and I can see Peter and Julian, so I can't really tell where the pack is. And so I'm still super nervous because this is a long uphill drag, but I'm out of the saddle right away. I'm just digging. So no idea how far back these guys are. I know Andrew has a monster sprint. I know with the lead-out train, they can make just about any lead race. This line feels like it's never going to pass. Phil gives me a thumbs up, which is pretty awesome. Cross the line in first. Like I said, it's been 4 years since I've done any of this, so didn't post up, didn't know what to do, but totally thrilled. Thanks for watching.